Limitless Wrestling fans, this is Jon Alba with the czar of Limitless Wrestling, Randy Carver. We are back for another edition of the Limitless Wrestling Podcast. What's going on?
What's going on, man? I'm excited for this one. I love the Ask Limitless episodes.
So should I'll wait to kick some dirt.
Yeah,
please. I'll hold it off and wait to kick some dirt. But first off, just a friendly reminder that we're here every week now, and you can find us on Twitter at LWMain, on Facebook, Limitless Wrestling. Got some feedback from last week's episode. I believe I was called an insufferable human being or something along those lines.
Fair comment.
Debatable. But we are here every single week, and we are glad to be. And before we hop into this week, which is Ask Limitless, we asked you for questions, and boy, did we get a ton of them. Hopefully we can get through all of these. We are going to plug some things, because coming up this Saturday, this came out of nowhere. Limitless Wrestling teaming up with Let's Wrestle and Central Maine Derby for Glow versus Grit, a night of pro wrestling and roller derby at the Cross Insurance Center in Bangor, Maine. The Northwood Knockouts take on the Inferno at 5:30, followed immediately by Limitless Wrestling Showcase at the conclusion of the Derby. Tickets, $12 on Ticketmaster on the Cross Insurance website. I had no idea about this. Where did this come from? I know you like doing weird things and with wrestling and trying to team things up. Why is roller derby and pro wrestling a mix?
This just seemed like an awesome opportunity. Ashley Siren, who is a member of the Limitless Let's Wrestle team, she's actually a roller derby skater and actually really fucking good. And I went to one of their little derby games at the Cross Center, I would say 4 or 5 months ago, and just to kind of see what it was all about. And they have a really cool little fan base, and it's a very cool thing to watch. I don't know if you've ever seen roller derby, but it's pretty brutal. It's a lot more brutal than I thought it would be. So when they came to me about a month after that and asked about the opportunity of maybe teaming up for a little event, I thought it would be awesome, and I thought it would be a cool way to kind of mix our fan bases, because I think a lot of the pro wrestling fans would love roller derby and vice versa. They're both brutal, they're both entertaining, and it's both really cool athletic spectacles. So the opportunity arose, and we jumped on it. We're actually going to announce a couple matches right here on the podcast, because we haven't announced anything yet.
Let's do it.
Aiden Agro is going to go one-on-one with the prize Alec Price. The masshole Mike McCarthy will be going one-on-one with Calvin Strange. And Danger Kid will be going one-on-one with CJ Cruz, who is a standout from the last Let's Wrestle show. So we're going to have 4 matches on the day, still one unannounced. Alexander Lee will be there as well. So you can guarantee he's in that 4th match. Tickets, as you said, just $12, and I think it's going to be really fun. It's our debut in Bangor, believe it or not. We've been around for 4 years, have never actually had a show in Bangor.
Now, is this going to be on the floor of the Cross Insurance Center, like the main arena?
Yes. So the Derby track is really huge, and that's going to be set up center of the Cross Insurance floor, and we're going to be right at the top of it. So if you buy, no matter what tier of ticket you buy, because there is a VIP package that's available, no matter what you buy for a ticket, once the roller derby concludes, there's going to be chairs set up on the floor around ringside, so you can come right down the ringside, sit or stand, whatever you want to do.
That is certainly very unique. How cool is that for you that you're going to get to run a venue that WWE runs? This has got to be the first non-WWE wrestling event at the Cross Center.
Yeah, I would assume so. At least on the main floor. I know they've done Comic-Con and
stuff. No. I mean on the floor of the Cross Insurance Center.
Yeah. Very cool, because I've been going to wrestling events in that venue since it was Bangor Auditorium back in the day. So it's very cool for me, being someone who's local from the area. I do wish that we could run a full-fledged Limitless show there, and it wasn't just a 3 or 4 match showcase.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. This is a very cool start.
That'd be pretty insane. 5,000-6,000 people. That'd be pretty cool.
Nuts, man.
Hey, you kind of teased that there were some big meetings going on a couple of weeks ago on Twitter. Things going well with that? You don't got to give details, but let's give a little teaser here.
Details until we have anything set, but very, very good meeting with a much bigger venue than we run now in Westbrook. So I'm hoping at least by the end of the year, we have something in place for a bigger venue in the Portland area. And that's as much as I'll say.
Pretty cool tease right there. Next Friday, May 31st, The American Legion Post 84, Volume 7, Curl of the Burl, Let's Wrestle. Tickets still available online. Let's Wrestle at limitlesswrestling.com/Let's Wrestle. Already announced for this show. Davian defending against classic Calvin Strange. What's Calvin been saying leading up to this match? Because I know you talk to him quite frequently.
I try not to. He just messages me all the fucking time. But he's obviously excited for him about it. I'm not stoked about it after, he dipped out of our main event last month with Main State Posse. But it is an opportunity that I think he's deserved. He's really busted his ass in Let's Wrestle and really improved as a pro wrestler as a whole. But Davian is lining him up and knocking him down right now as the Let's Wrestle champion. So it's not going to be an easy feat to knock her off the throne.
No, it will not be. We've got a grudge tag team match. Anthony Green and Ava Everett versus DL Hurst and Brett Domino.
And this is one, we've talked about this a little bit. This was originally scheduled for the last Limitless show with AG, though, receiving the Evolve contract. He was not able to be there. So luckily, we're able to put this tag match together for Let's Wrestle. If you haven't yet, definitely go to youtube.com/Limitless Wrestling or the Let's Wrestle Facebook page to check out the little promo video that Harry Aaron put together. It really re-educates anyone who may not have been there at the Limitless show, or just as a nice refresher to see how we got here. And I don't know, to see the real anger of Ava Everett after she got a crutch slammed over her back.
The prize, Alec Price versus CJ Cruz.
Very excited for this one. I think these are two of the top prospects in Let's Wrestle right now. Both of these guys have had amazing showings over the past few shows of Let's Wrestle. And after Alec Price really stole the victory in the Cluster Jam last time, it only made sense to have these two face off one-on-one.
Weird one, Cluster Jam, Alexander Lee versus Danger Kid versus Frank Yeager versus Scotty Wilde versus Tomahawk.
Kind of surprising to have two MSP members in the same match, but this is just one of those matches that this is kind of how it shook out. We ended up having a lot more matches booked for this show than originally scheduled. So the idea of like having Danger Kid and Alexander Lee in singles matches kind of went out the window. And, because we ended up adding the AG, Ava, Domino, and Hurst tag match that I didn't know we were going to have on this show. And then Alec Price and CJ Cruz ends up coming together after last show. So the card just kept getting bigger and bigger. So that ended up putting, I would say some bigger name Let's Wrestle guys into this Cluster Jam. And now, two members of MSP are going to collide with Frank Yeager, Tomahawk, and Scotty Wilde making his return. I'm very excited about that. So this should be a really good one. I'm very excited for it.
Is there anything else on this card? Am I missing something?
There is one actually that is not on the list. Mike McCarthy goes one-on-one with Owen Brody. Stipulation to be determined, but I know what you're trying to get at.
What am I missing here?
I don't know, John. Educate the people.
Let me look through here, my papers and all that stuff. Oh, here it is.
What is this?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. Hell hath frozen over. The bitch is back. For weeks now, I have been clamoring for Mac Daniels to be given and shown respect from the higher-ups at Let's Wrestle, from Aiden Agro, from you, at which he has received none. And after being forced to sit in front of a camera and feed an apology to the unwashed masses,
what?
I've decided to come to his aid. He reached out to me. He texted me. He said, John, I'm tired of this. I hear you every single week on the Limitless Wrestling Podcast defending my good name. I want to take on Aiden Agro, and I need you in my corner. And my heart melted. My heart melted because not only does this mean that I get to see your Dysart swallowing face in person again, but I get to help my man, Mac Daniels, achieve the biggest win of his career. So Mac Daniels will take on Aiden Agro in a match that will surely not only steal the show, but potentially be regarded as the greatest match in Central Maine pro wrestling history.
Wow.
The
That's a big
chiseled,
claim.
the chiseled main attraction goes against one of my old Padawans. My first Padawan, Aiden Agro. A man who talks a lot of talk. He's talking a lot of talk to a guy who can give it right back. So Mac Daniels, I've got your back. I will be in your corner May 31st at the American Legion Post 84 in Orono, Maine, much to Randy Carver's chagrin.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I'm just along for the ride. This is wild. I didn't know you were gonna have music and a whole presentation here.
Did you not see the video?
Oh, I saw the video. I don't know how this slipped.
That was the greatest vignette that Let's Wrestle has ever had produced.
I don't know about that.
And all it took was a couple of slices and dices and some music, and that was it.
Yeah, it was something, man.
When I'm on your show, you up your value.
Oh, okay.
And did you see the response?
Yeah. I saw a lot of a lot of punchable faces.
I get to play. Comment. I get to show up in a Let's Wrestle ring and play Count the Teeth among all the people that will be there.
You're earning friends real quick.
They're all my friends already. They can't wait. I got messages left and right. They cannot wait for the return of television's own Jon Alba to be in the corner of Mac Daniels in what will surely be a show-stealing performance from both he and I.
I mean, does Mac Daniels understand what happens when you manage people in the world of Limitless Wrestling?
That's because of, first off, hostile working conditions. We're not in Westbrook. We're not at that crappy venue that has no ventilation. Okay? We are in a place that is properly ventilated in a ring that I am accustomed to.
Properly ventilated. There's like 4 box fans in the whole fucking place.
That's more box fans than the Westbrook Armory has.
Fair.
And I am more familiar with that ring. I am more familiar with the audience, the demographics.
All right, so you think you're gonna come and knock a home run here?
I don't think. I know I'm hitting a grand slam. And I'm driving in Mac Daniels for that walk-off run.
All right.
That's a baseball analogy, Randy. I know you like a bunch of shitty teams.
What? No.
But that's a baseball analogy for you.
Yeah.
And Mac Daniels, I cannot wait until we round the bases together.
Wow. Beautiful.
And just remember, Randy, at the end of the day, you're paying me. So who wins at the end of the day? It's me.
Well, we'll see.
How'd you feel about this when you heard, when Mac Daniels came to you and said, Randy, this is what I'm doing? How'd you feel about that?
I didn't know till the video dropped, so I was just as surprised as everybody else. But I was actually kind of stoked because I think it's even sweeter now that you're going to have to travel from halfway across the country to have your boy lose, not just like 2 hours anymore. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, listen to you trying to build your young talent. Showing a lot of faith in your young talent there that you're trying to groom.
We have great dudes at the dojo. He's just been a prick lately, and I'm just being honest. Let's dive in. Let's go.
I'm not here to heal it up, man. I'm just here to be real.
Heal it
and
up.
I'm being real here.
Come on,
I believe Mac Daniels.
Insider terms.
That I believe Mac Daniels. Oh, well, all your fans who like to tweet me after they listen to this podcast like to use those insider terms. Nudge, nudge, nudge.
No, they're just like, you're shit, John. I see the tweets.
No.
That's what they say.
No, that's not it.
Insufferable. Chubby behemoth. I saw it.
That's not it. Anyway, I can't wait. Let's Wrestle, American Legion Post 84, May 31st. I'll be there. And if you print out an 8x10, I'll happily sign it. Harry Aaron took my headshots.
Harry's great.
Yes, he is. Let's Wrestle. That's May 31st. Limitless Wrestling, July 12th, the Vacation Land Cup. 200 tickets remain for this event. We know that Kevin Blackwood's facing Christian Casanova in the first round. We also know JT Dunn's going to be there. We know Ace Romero's going to be there. We know Eli Everfly is going to be there. We know the Butcher and the Blade are going to be there. We know the Workhorsemen are going to be there. But announced this week, a prime time announcement. A perfect time for an announcement, even though it was mistimed. The Perfect 10, Shawn Spears, formerly known as Ty Dillinger in WWE, making his Limitless Wrestling debut. He will be on Double or Nothing this weekend. What a perfect time for him to make his way to Portland, Maine.
Absolutely. That's what I said too when the AEW announcement dropped. I'm like, man, that was fucking pretty good timing. But no, this is something that we've had in place for a little while now. Very excited to have him in. And I'm very this is one of the cool things about independent wrestling is when guys especially when they voluntarily leave something like WWE or a big company in general, and they make a go at it on the independents for a little while. I think that's so fucking cool. And just to see, I'm very interested in what his presentation is going to be, and really just how he comes off to the crowd in Portland, because they're going to be very excited for him. So it's just really cool to see what he's going to be able to do on the independents, and very cool that within his first month and a half on the independents, he'll be stopping in Limitless.
Was he super down to do this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This deal came together extremely quickly. His agent is actually the same that we worked with for Cody Rhodes, so it was a familiar person to talk to. So it got done very quickly, and very excited. Yeah. And the mistimed announcement, we teased the 7-10 announcement all day, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be really cool. And I taped a video with Calvin Strange that afternoon to do a cool little teaser, and then Ty Dillinger tweeted it out at 6:30. So all was well. People were fucking stoked about it. But let me tell you this too. Tickets went on sale Monday. We had an amazing first day of ticket sales, one of the best that we've ever had. And we almost didn't have anything because at 6:20, I got a message from a fan who said that they were looking to purchase a DVD and it wasn't working. And I'm like, what do you mean it wasn't working? So I log on, and you go to the payment option of the website, and there was no options for anybody to pay for anything. I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. So I went on, reconfirmed all my banking stuff, and then nothing would pop up. So then I go to Squarespace, who has 24/7 award-winning customer service, can't get anybody to talk to me. We don't get it fixed until literally 6:58 when tickets are dropping at 7, and we get the website back live at 6:59. So shout out to Andrew Watson for the message, because we would have been up Schitt's Creek without a paddle if he didn't message.
Thank you for that. So there you go. That's the Vacation Land Cup that is coming up July 12th. Plenty more announcements to be made for that show, no doubt about it. Let's do some questions here. Skip wants to know, where has Top Shelf Troy Nelson been?
That's a great question. Top Shelf has been out of Limitless Wrestling since the No Control Blitzkrieg weekend, which was the end of November into the first day of December of last year. We had a talk after the Blitzkrieg show, and he kind of made it known to me that he wasn't very happy with where he was at, wrestling-wise or with his body, and really just wanted to take some time to really put some work in and become the best possible professional wrestler he could be. So he let me know at the beginning of the year that he was going to take some time off. He knew he wouldn't be in the ring much during the holiday season anyway. So let me know he was going to take some time off. And I actually talked to him the other day. He's been getting back into the ring at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, which is awesome. So I definitely think that you see Top Shelf again by year's end, but it'll be his choice when he comes back. But I'm very excited for it. The work that he's put in is already showing. So I'm stoked to eventually have him back.
Troy is one of the real good guys in wrestling too.
Troy is one of the low-key pillars of Limitless Wrestling. He's been very important, whether it's been from the matches he's had, the stories he's told on commentary, the connections he's had, and been able to lead us within the business. So he's been very helpful to Limitless Wrestling from day one, from an all-around standpoint.
Rick wants to know, any chance of facilitating a match with Mike Quackenbush soon?
Yes, I actually really, really tried to get Mike Quackenbush on the Vacation Land Cup, actually, and it couldn't pan out, unfortunately, but I do think it happens eventually. I just don't know when. But Mike Quackenbush is legitimately one of my favorite independent wrestlers of all time. I think he's masterful in the ring, and it would be an absolute honor, honestly, to host him at a Limitless show. So I definitely think that you see it sometime, because he's also a very beneficial seminar that I really want to get, set up for the kids at the dojo. So hopefully we can get something set up soon.
Jason asks, have you ever thought about a live internet broadcast for those who can't make it to the show?
Yes. So we've been in talks with independentwrestling.tv about doing just this. They do a ton of streams every month, but
They are very hard to execute.
yes, they are, because unfortunately a lot of the venues, especially in Maine, a lot of the venues do not have great internet access. So broadcasting out can be somewhat of an issue, but we've been actually working with the Portland Club over the past few days to see if that's something that's possible for our upcoming show. So it's definitely something that's in the works, but independentwrestling.tv too. If you're looking for any replays of Limitless Wrestling, we're on there. You can use the code Limitless when you sign up, get 20 days free. Definitely a great service to have, because there's a ton of pro wrestling on there and a ton of live streams.
Josh Nason, who we had last week on the show, you can go back and listen to that in the archives, asked 2 questions. First, what did you guys think of the McGee Hart match documentary? Did you see it?
I have not got to watch it.
So you haven't had a chance to see it?
No, and I'm really excited to. I might sit down and watch it tonight, actually, but I'm really excited to sit down and watch it because, little fun fact, Giancarlo put this together.
Yes.
And Giancarlo has actually done some work for.
Want to explain who Giancarlo is?
Yeah, so he is a content creator. He does a lot of the stuff that a lot of the vignettes that you've seen for Joey Janela or for Game Changer Wrestling, any of the Lost in New York Spring Break stuff. That was Giancarlo. He's an excellent mind and an excellent eye behind the camera. In the scope of Limitless Wrestling, he did a piece called the MJF Show that we did a couple years ago when he was going into his match with Sami Callihan. Nothing Gold Can Stay. So you can check that out, get a feel for who that was. But he's now with the WWE, and they're really expanding their content creation. And this is one of the pieces that he was able to do. So I'm very excited to check it out for that aspect alone.
So I watched this documentary. This whole came out because of basically the tape was found. It went viral that it was found, and StarCast was going to do the first ever panel where Tom McGee and Bret Hart talk about the match. It's a folklore match where Tom McGee was going to be the next Hulk Hogan, and Bret Hart was put in the ring with him, and it was the greatest debut match in the history of debut matches. And
They called it the perfect match.
And Vince McMahon allegedly said to the people around him, he's going to be my next big guy. He's going to be my next Hulk Hogan. Obviously, Tom McGee didn't become that. But I watched the documentary, and it was really, really well done. Some small revisionist WWE history, that's naturally going to be the case. But all in all, I thought it was really well put together. Honest interviews, and Tom McGee shows up in it, too. So if you are going to StarCast this weekend, you're still going to get that panel. It's going to be the first time Tom McGee and Bret Hart are together to talk about that match. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I remember this from back in the day, like Colt Cabana when he had his original podcast.
Well, he's considered the one who spearheaded the legend of it.
That was the first I had ever heard of it, because it's not it was something a lot of the tape traders knew about it, and that was probably the hottest tape in town if anybody had it.
And no one had it. So that's the whole thing. Yeah. He also asked, was my podcast debut the biggest debut in Limitless Wrestling history, in ring or out?
Jeez, that'd be a tall task to take.
Not sure about that.
But it was good. I did get a lot of good feedback from having especially just having a 3-person panel about the show review. Got a lot of good feedback from that.
Kyle Whistler, do we have a timeline on when we're going to lose MJF and AC? Big congrats to them, of course. I just want to know when we get to give them the big send-off. Why you want them to leave?
So, first of all, to clear up the rumor, Ace Romero is not signed to All Elite Wrestling.
And even if he was, he could still wrestle on Limitless shows.
Correct. So, for the time being, at least.
Yeah.
So he's just appearing. I mean, I say it's not a small thing.
It's huge.
But he's doing the Over the Budget Battle Royal.
Which they just announced on the day that we taped this, that the winner of that will face the winner of Omega Jericho for the AEW Championship.
Really?
So can you imagine?
I didn't even know Omega Jericho was for the championship.
No, Omega Jericho is not for the championship. The winner of Omega Jericho will face the winner of the Battle Royal to crown the vacant AEW champion.
Gotcha. That's rad.
So 2 Limitless guys in MJF and AC, and there's several others, if I'm not mistaken, in this match, could potentially become the first AEW champion and have to face Chris Jericho or Kenny Omega for it. So that's kind of crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wild. But yeah, I mean, awesome for Ace to be a part of that. For MJF, it's really up in the air right now, because a lot of the rumor and innuendo is that once they start television, which rumored I think is October.
Yes. Well, will be this
that
fall. We know it's this fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is likely when everyone is saying, okay, they're going to become exclusive, but we've got clearance at, moving forward that is, as long as MJF is the Limitless Wrestling champion and as long as it doesn't conflict with obviously AEW, that we'll have access. So.
And don't worry, Randy, especially if a guy like Ace Romero gets signed, Randy will find a way to make sure he gets a big send-off. So
yeah, we'll absolutely do something.
MJF, I don't know, but Ace Romero for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So don't worry, but don't think about that right now. So Will wants to know thoughts on Midwest talent like the Hooligans, the Rejects, and the Carnies, and the likelihood of them being on future shows.
So I have honestly not seen a ton from the Rejects and the Carnies. I actually don't even know if the Carnies are still like doing stuff as a trio. But the Hooligans, Devin and Mason Cutter, are one of my favorite like underrated tag teams. I think they're one of the best in the Midwest. I've seen them live a couple times, and they're just absolutely insane. So that's definitely a team that I want to get up here at some point. And just I like watching those Midwest shows because there's a lot of talent in the Midwest, like a Kevin Koo or Cole Radrick I've been watching recently. There's a lot of cool guys coming up from just the Midwest area, so maybe we can get a carload and set something up pretty soon.
Matt Bamford asks, how does Mr. Alba maintain such perfect and immaculate hair?
I don't know. You can dive into this one.
It was actually a year ago yesterday that I won that award, the Harry Award.
Was it really?
It was a year ago. I legitimately 100% shoot style hair won the best hair in all of Maine news.
That's such bullshit.
I'll get out. Who's got better hair in Maine news than I do?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Tim Throckmorton had
yeah, get the hell out of here. We're not talking about skeletons on this podcast, okay? Anyway, my method to my madness is not as complicated as you may think. It is a hairdryer, some hair cream, not gel, some hair cream, sometimes a brush, and a little hairspray. That's it.
That's it.
So you too, well, you can't, but you too can achieve greatness. Just saying. Josh wants to know, can Ring Loyals gear be available for purchase at Vacation Land Cup? I hear their owners are willing to be there with merch for sale.
So I don't know who actually runs Ring Loyals, but I know it's a like wrestling clothing company, and they have a lot of dudes who rep it and Let's Wrestle. So if the owner of Ring Loyals or something wants to hit me up, we can set something up for sure. Joe
Weeks asks, what are your feelings on the fans throwing streamers like Ring of Honor at the Limitless shows?
Someone asked this the other day. I'm absolutely cool with it. We just have to make sure, obviously, that no one's throwing them mid-match. We had that issue like once before, and then we stopped actually selling them at shows, and then they just kind of stopped coming. So totally fine by me. Just the big thing is everyone's just got to understand, and most wrestling fans do, of when to throw them. You throw them, beginning of the match, sometimes the end, but mostly, as wrestlers are coming out for their entrances, and that's it. So I'm cool with it.
Corey asks, do you guys plan on running any shows in New Hampshire?
I would not say it's out of the question. It's actually something that, as much as I despise him, myself and Joey Eastman have talked about a little bit. Max Smashmaster has had some suggestions as well. So I definitely think it's something that we could look into maybe for this fall or maybe even into the winter, because I really would like to give that a shot. We actually send quite a few tickets to New Hampshire now, which is really cool. So I'd love to bring an actual live event to New Hampshire.
Jacob Wentworth, what are the chances for a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match at an upcoming Limitless show?
Pretty slim, I would say.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what Judy Bagwell's doing today. Like, probably nothing, but, I don't know. I could get my hands on a forklift. So maybe if we take her out of the equation and just do, I don't know, some kind of crazy forklift match. I know a couple people.
I hope you're not making any illusions there.
I'd love to put you on a forklift.
You would. You'd love to touch me, I know.
Okay.
Anyway, speaking of Judy Bagwell, patreon.com/living the gimmick. For my show, Living the Gimmick, we were doing a watch along for some of the patrons today. We did Judgment Day 2000, and that's where The Undertaker debuts the American Badass, the Iron Man match. Fun show. Good show. But when I do these watch-alongs, I like going through the Observer and going through how business was for the company and opposing companies from 1999 to 2000. You always hear the stories, but like when you look at the numbers of how bad WCW business was, WCW, you want to know how many house shows they sold out in 2000?
How many?
0.0.
Wow.
None. Not a house show.
Were they running a lot?
Yeah. House show attendance went down by like 74%.
Shit.
Revenue went down 62%. And ratings went down like 54%.
That's insane.
1 year to 1 year. May 99 to May 2000.
Wow.
Crazy. Judy Bagwell may have been part of that. Ben wants to know, can I have a hug when I see you again? That's my only question.
Yes. So, little backstory. I included this question for this. This Ben fella who asked this question was former professional wrestler Andrew Amadeus. He came out to Rock Me Amadeus by Falco and was the first ever wrestling shirt that I bought from an independent wrestler. So, I fucking love Ben.
You did get in touch with the individual who chugged the beer last week.
Yeah. Derek's going to get himself a beer at the next Limitless show.
He was very excited.
He was stoked.
Alex, now that Limitless has a championship belt, any chance of a tag team belt?
We've been asked this a lot. I'm not entirely sure, like, when any other championships are happening in Limitless Wrestling, but obviously, don't count it out.
Yeah, never say never.
Never say never. What's that?
I say never say never. But the other thing, too, and this is playing devil's advocate, that it's hard to consistently get a tag division together because when you have a big, expansive tag division in independent wrestling, so many of those guys are going to be working other shows on one week or another that it's hard to have consistent tag teams coming in and out. And you've been lucky that you have had a few, but that's got to be pretty hard to execute.
It is, and that's I think why like many programs of like tag team stuff is tough for us to work because the thing is like you're saying like I think you got to be at a certain level to get on Limitless shows, and I think we would have to dumb down we'd have to dumb down like the competition in the tag team division to get consistent teams all the time. Does that make sense? How I explain that?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's not something that I'm willing to do just to get like tag stories in there.
No, you want every tag match to be a potential show stealer.
Yes. Yeah. And you want the cream of the crop in Limitless Wrestling, and that's what you're going to get. And I don't want to dumb down a division just to get consistency. You know what I mean? Because I think we do have a lot of consistency elsewhere, but that is something that I'm building to is more tag team consistency. And I think over the past year and a half, we've done a lot better at that because we've had tag teams that are like core roster members that make Limitless a priority. So we can kind of go into stuff with that. But like you said, a lot of these guys are working other shows, some bigger shows, some have contracts. So it is tough to negotiate stuff like that, especially with tag teams.
Ryan says, I love cross promotion. So are we going to see a Limitless Blitzkrieg this year in Maine?
There is potential that could happen. I've been talking to Jeremy about it a little bit because we definitely want to do a round 2 of Limitless Blitzkrieg this year, whether it is in Maine or Connecticut. But I'm looking at some venues. I'd like to try a new venue with something like this in like Portland area or something like that, in the same kind of capacity as Westbrook. So we've been looking at a couple buildings, and I think that'd be a really fun show to kind of try a new venue with as well.
Jonathan asks, can we get another bring your own weapons match? I believe he means fans bring the weapons match.
Yeah. We've talked about this a little before. I do think that there could be another one. Obviously, we would sanction it a little better than we did the last one. But, something would have to call for it. That's the thing, is if we ever get to a scenario where it calls for a fans bring the weapons match again, I definitely think it could happen.
Kevin Lee asks, when is Limitless getting a TV deal?
Probably never, but I just don't think this was a question that I'm glad you saved for somewhat towards the end because I did want to talk about it a little bit. I don't think that us being on TV would do much benefit because I know myself, I hardly watch TV anymore. And if anything, I'm watching the network and Netflix, which are like paid subscription services. Right. So I probably watch an hour of TV a week, which is like Sports Center.
Well, and you want to be on TV in a market that you're trying to break into, and you've already broken into your markets.
Right, exactly. And that's like, I don't know what benefit it would do, because it's not like, local Central and Southern Maine television stations are clamoring to have Limitless Wrestling on their programming. They're not. They'd want me to pay them. And that would be, I don't know, anywhere in upwards of $800 to $1,000 a month for a 30-minute to an hour episode once a week, probably in a bad time slot too.
So I look, you want to talk about this? You want to break down that wall a little bit? Let's break it down.
Fuck yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. So think back to 2015, 2016-ish here.
Yeah.
When I roll into Maine in 2015, and IWE is airing TV on Fox 22. They had a half-hour time slot that they paid for every single weekend. And it was them paying for it. And, the show was produced pretty much exactly how you'd expect it to be. It was not heavily promoted by any means. And I kept saying to the powers that be at IWE, it's great that you have this, but is 12:30 on a Saturday getting you any more fans to the building just to say that you have TV?
Right.
And it's not high production value. Is that really being beneficial? Now, I'm lucky because truthfully, and this is the reality here, I would not have ever stepped into a ring had their show not been on my TV station.
Right.
Because my first angle that I ever did in pro wrestling was with our little faction that we started called The Station.
Yeah.
And it actually started with Aiden Aggro. So kind of funny way that worked out. So I'm grateful for it. But, I can tell you firsthand, it really didn't do that much for the profile.
No. And I think the big thing is, too, is that, like, if I were to even look into it, I'd be paying every week for an episode. There is a potential to make money, like if I had the opportunity to sell advertising on the show, so I could at least maybe break even or make some money off it. But that would be a lot of work to put in just to break even on something that I don't know if it's actually going to do us any good. And on the flip side, we'd also have to dumb down the Limitless shows to fit a television product, because I don't know if anybody's ever been to a Limitless show, but we swear quite a lot. And there's a lot of things that just wouldn't fit on like family television. And I don't think, just to have television, like, I don't know, like the Limitless experience to me is very important. And I think anybody who listens to this podcast who's been to a show knows what that is. It's just a different vibe than really any shows in this area, I think. And I don't want to dumb that down just to have a television product that I don't really know if it's going to do any good. But I think we have an awesome platform with youtube.com/Limitless Wrestling. There's so much free content that goes up on there every single day. And then independentwrestling.tv, like we said earlier, it's $10 a month. You can use the promo code Limitless, get 20 days free. And that's got so much fucking wrestling on there. That's not, it doesn't have to fit anything, it's just the shows that and the visions of these companies present.
Speaking of TV, obviously AEW is going to TNT. Do you view it having success?
Yeah. It's an alternative. And I think, one of the big things that I think a lot of people miss with AEW is like the guys running this company and the guys within this company, huge social media presences, and they're all pushing the same product. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes like, WWE's always, the mecca, and they have amazing viewerships. And, even though people bitch about them all the time, in the grand scheme of television, they have great viewership for a weekly program. I think AEW will have success because, especially at first, because it's something new. A lot of people are not extremely happy with the WWE product right now, at least the ones speaking out. A lot of people are not happy with the WWE product, so they'll want to give something a chance that's new. And, I'm sure being, with the money backing that they have, I bet there'll be a lot of advertising put towards this as well once TV is really on the way and they have a set date and everything like that. So off the get-go, I do think it's going to be pretty successful viewership-wise.
Dave Dyer, I'd like to know why Jon Alba feels the need to besmirch the good name of Limitless by making an appearance to clearly help out his friend Mac Daniels in his match versus Aiden Agro at the 531 Let's Wrestle event. Curl the Burl, he said, which is not even the name of the show. Curl off the Burl. In order.
Yeah.
Also, Alba better be on his best behavior because there's at least one Limitless Dojo student ready to help shut his shenanigans down quickly.
Ooh.
Okay, first off, before I absolutely mutilate this guy, I'll let you go ahead and plug what he's doing because I know he's been working on a project with you that you probably want to put out there. So go ahead.
Yeah, so Dave Dyer is a sports writer, and if you haven't followed, we've shared it on the Limitless page and the Let's Wrestle Twitter, but definitely shoot Dave Dyer a follow on Twitter if you haven't. He's been writing about his Limitless Dojo experience, and they've done a couple parts in this little wrestling series that eventually we hope culminates with his debut in Let's Wrestle. So he's well on his way. I do think with the progress that he's made, and if he keeps really grinding and showing up to classes, I definitely think by the end of the summer, if not early fall, he'll be making his debut pretty soon.
Can I go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Dave Dyer, if that's the best promo that you can cut, you got a lot of work to do at the dojo. And Randy, I don't think you're doing your job if you're teaching promos, because not only are there typos in that, but putting himself over quite big there, and he hasn't even stepped foot in a ring in front of people. That's the first part of that.
Fair.
Second part of that, I have more matches than this guy does under my belt. So having a lot of gall to say that I'm besmirching the good name of Limitless, which, as a reminder, I would like to say I am an employee of. Thank you, Randy. I host this show for you. I've competed on your shows. I am an employee of Limitless Wrestling. So this is no more besmirching than Randy allows for. And yeah, help out my friend Mac Daniels. Yeah, I am doing that. I'm helping him. Doesn't mean there's going to be funny business. It just means he's got a guy in his corner to endorse him, give him validity in front of these fans who would never know what a body like that looks like if it hit them in the face, because when they look down, all they see are a box of Krispy Kreme donuts, which they had to order through Amazon, and they were desperate enough to do so.
What?
Because
there's no order Krispy Kreme donuts through Amazon.
Probably there's no Krispy Kremes in Maine, right?
No.
Yeah. So there you go. Exactly.
Game changer.
Point proven.
Okay.
So I don't think anything that I said there was wrong. Just a point.
All right, man.
Do you want me to read the immaculate hair question again? Because we can.
No, okay. No, absolutely not.
2 more, I believe. So I'll start with this one because I'll save the best one for last. Dalton wants to know, if you had to book a show using the roster from any company but from one specific year, what year and promotion would it be?
This is a really good one, too, that I looked into for a minute. I came to the conclusion of 2006 Ring of Honor because I think it is probably one of my favorite years for a promotion, especially roster-wise. This is at the point where they're doing the CZW versus Ring of Honor feud. So you've got like Chris Hero, Super Dragon, Necro Butcher there, Samoa Joe, Homicide, Danielson, Nigel, Aries and Roddy, the Briscoes. Like there's just so much talent on that roster. That was, I think, the culmination of the new Jimmy Jacobs character as well. So I think that was one of, if not the probably best year in Ring of Honor, in my opinion. And I think one of the best rosters, especially independent wrestling wise ever.
For me, it comes down to 1997 WWF. Stone Cold Steve Austin on the rise, The Rock on the rise, Bret Hart still in the fold, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Mick Foley, The Undertaker, Kane debuts at the end of the year. Talking one of the greatest rosters ever there. And hey, I'd say this, 2018 NXT, man. Don't have to go that far back for that.
That's pretty fair, actually. That's a good one.
Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Adam Cole, Killian Dane, Ricochet. The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Insane talent. Velveteen Dream. If I were a booker, man, I can see why Triple H enjoys that.
I want to do 2006 WWE too, so I can like give Trevor Murdoch a hot run.
I'm sure you did love Trevor Murdoch. That
I
does
do. I'm a
not
big
doubt
fan.
me. That does not surprise me. I know we've talked about it on the show before with Trevor Murdoch, how that's like your dream guy to bring to Limitless. But
Him and Shelton Benjamin, those are my two.
oh, Shelton might be possible one day.
I think so. It was almost possible right before he got signed again.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
And then our last Ask Limitless question. I'll make sure I didn't miss any others, but I'm pretty sure this is it. Comes from Mikey. Can you tell us your best Tony Atlas stories? I've got one. You probably have several.
Okay. I got one I'm gonna tell. One of them is a little too raunchy.
Okay.
So Tony Atlas, this is within my first like 3 or 4 months in the business, so it's probably like show 5 or 6 that I'm ring announcing on, and Tony's on the show. And I've known Tony for a long time. He's one of the like main wrestling mainstays. Like if you were an independent wrestling fan hitting numerous shows in Maine, you're probably going to see him every 2 or 3 months at least. So Tony's on this show. He's riding down with the Portland carload, and he gets in a little skirmish on the ride down with a Maine wrestling manager who's going to remain anonymous
until after the podcast.
Yeah,
because I do want to know.
So they get in this skirmish on the way down. So Tony comes through the doors, probably 6 o'clock. Doors open at 7. He comes in, and Tony's hot. He's not too happy, and he kind of lets us know what's gone on. And at this point, I'm pretty much Eric Johnson's right hand man.
How old are you? 17.
I would be 15 at this point.
15.
And we're just kind of looking at each other because we know, Tony gets hot sometimes, and then he just settles down, and that's exactly what happened. Well, the manager comes back in about 15 minutes later, and he, pulls me into the side with a couple other people, and he lets us know, and he's swearing his head off and obviously not happy about what's transpired. And we're just trying to settle everybody down. And unfortunately, this manager guy goes and confronts Tony at his table, and Tony did not take kindly to that, put his hands on him and said he'd fucking kill him if he came and got in his face again. And it was a tense little situation. So manager dude then bails and fucking goes outside. So he's going to call the cops, whatever. And Tony just sits back down like nothing happened. We get to talking about his art. And that's how that went for a minute. So then doors are about to open at 7 o'clock. I'm standing by the doors with Eric, and we're just opening them, and then 2 police officers show up. And Eric does not know that this manager,
he doesn't know that he called.
No, he doesn't know that at all. So I have to brief him real quick while the cops are standing about 10 feet away, and just kind of let him know what's up. And so now he's kind of tense, and they come through, and they tell us that they have to go talk to Tony. So they go talk to Tony, and I'm standing there examining this, and I'm real worked up because I'm like, wow, I'm gonna watch fucking WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas get fucking arrested right here, and these people are gonna see it because they're coming through the door. So I didn't really know what to do, so I'm just standing there watching, and then the body language of everybody there just kind of changes to very, very happy, and the cops start popping. And I'm like, what? I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and then they pull out their phone and take a picture with Tony. Get 2 signed 8x10s, and off they went. And I'm shitting my pants. I'm like, what? And I go over to Tony, and Tony's like, yeah, they fans, man. They fans. And I'm like, holy shit. And so they did their fucking investigatory work and got a couple free 8x10s out of it. And that was how that went.
My story is a little different, and it's pretty messed up when all things are considered.
Beautiful.
So anyone listening to this, do not pass judgment on me, because I'm just going to recall this story exactly as it happened. I am not insulting anyone. I am not mocking anyone. This is exactly how it happened. So I want to say it's 2016. IWE is doing Did IWE do shows, or did they just have like booths at the Comic-Con in Bangor? At the arena?
They had booths there. I think in 2016 they probably did have a show, but it might have been at Cityside.
They might have had a show, but it was at the Cross Insurance Center.
Okay, so it was for the Comic-Con then?
I'm fairly certain it was for the Comic-Con.
Okay.
And I walk up, in there. I had been doing some stuff with IWE at this point, and I see Eric there. And he told me that Tony was going to be there, and if I wanted to interview Tony for the news, we could get him on that and talk about stuff. And yeah, I was like, okay, great. Need some content. Slow day. I think it might have been a Saturday, so super slow day. And God, this is brutal. So I go to, and I had met Tony a couple times at this point. He knew who I was, and I shake his hand. I say, "Hey, Tony, how you doing?" God, I can't believe I'm about to do this. He goes, "I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you." And I'm like, "Great to see you too, man. Like you got a couple minutes to chat." He's like, "I've got all the time to chat that I could possibly do for you and give you all the time in the world." And I'm like, "Okay, great. I got to get something out of my camera bag. Hold on one second. Oh, Eric, could you come over here for a second?" And I go to Eric. I'm like, "Did he have a freaking stroke? Like what the hell happened? Like, I didn't read anywhere that Tony Atlas had a stroke and he can't talk and lost movement on the left side of his face and he's paralyzed, and now I'm gonna put this guy on the news and make an ass out of myself and him and look like a terrible person." And Eric's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "When I'm talking to him, he's acting like his face is paralyzed. Like he swallowed his tongue." and he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Go talk to him." So Eric's like, "Tony, you good?" And Tony's like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. What's up?"
Perfect.
Tony was ribbing me by acting like he had a stroke.
Wow.
And I shit my pants. I had no clue how to react. I was like, am I a jackass? Like, did I not know this?
Had you met Tony very much?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I had met him a couple times.
Okay.
And my God, he acted like he had a stroke and couldn't talk.
He's ribbed. I've seen a lot of funny ribs from Tony with just people who he's meeting for the first time, and he's wild.
I felt like such a jerk. And then he dropped it and spoke normally.
I love it.
But I feel like that's Tony Atlas's personality.
Absolutely.
So
he likes to have fun.
That is for sure. And we like to have fun here on the Limitless Wrestling Podcast. Ask Limitless. We'll do plenty more of these shows. They're some of my favorites to do. And yeah, so Randy, I'm going to just take this Memorial Day weekend, chill out a little bit, because as I open up my calendar, 9 days I'll be seeing you.
Yeah. Can't wait, buddy.
Or should I say, you'll be seeing me.
Oh yeah.
The American Legion Post 84. And you know what? How about this? I'm gonna go tape something next week. Gonna give my thoughts on Aiden Agro and Mac Daniels at length. How about we post that to the Let's Wrestle page? You cool with that?
I will. I'd love to see it.
Okay, great. We are hoping to be back next week here on the Limitless Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you then.